Hey, YouTube Rando here. We're going to start out the homemade bushcraft knives today out of this file. So I've got it marked out, everything I'm trimming off of it, and we'll get it trimmed, and I'm going to leave this little piece here to actually work with and take it off last. But we're going to get all this stuff carved out, and then we're going to start shaping it and bringing down the ends. And I'm just using regular bench grinder, so we'll get it shaved out and we'll come back and show you where we're at. Alright, YouTube, we're back. We have our general shape we're looking for. We need to cut that little excess off down there and round off the bottom of the handle. I kind of went a little too far up with the handle, you can see. I got the tops of my handles, and I did bring up the back a little more than the front, because I noticed most of the knives I like to use, back comes up a little bit higher for you to put your thumb. So I kind of did that, and then I brought it into the blade right there. And I'm going to actually try to leave the file markings on the back of the blade if possible, if it don't look too bad after I clean it up. We're going to try to incorporate those and leave them in it, see what happens. So once we get this cut off and get it shaped the way we want, I'll come back and show you where we're at with it right before we start actually shaving off the excess off the blade. So we'll be back. Alright, so we got everything shaved down on it that we want to get shaved down. We've got the general shape laid out. We may do a little bit of reshaping on the handle. I don't know, I kind of like the way it is. Got it rounded off on the bottom a little bit. It's fatter on bottom than it is on top. Then I just took some soapstone and marked out kind of where I want my blade. I want to keep the top of this blade as thick as possible. And then we'll just shave the bottom down right here with the bench grinder all the way up to here, all through here. And then we'll do the finishing touches on a belt sander. And that'll be, you know, how you polish it. You'll use different grits, and we'll kind of go over that as we go. You can tell I've already did a little bit of grinding on the blade, and we're going to try to even that out as well. That's a little lower on this side than it is on this side, and we're going to leave a little block right here so it'll come up from here and here, going to a point all the way up to the top. And I forgot to mention in the beginning of this video, if you want to nail your blade to make it softer to work with, you don't have to have a forge. You could just, you know, start a good fire, get a good bed of coals, lay your knife in there, then start a fire on top of that. Let it sit overnight. Just let it cool naturally. Pull it out the next day. It'll probably be warped. You'll probably have to hammer it out, flatten it back out before you start the process. But you can do that, and you'll save a lot on your tools. And then you can heat treat it again by putting it in a forge, or again just a bed of coals, a fire, and just periodically stick a magnet to it. And when that magnet will no longer stick to it, pull it out and dip it in, like use motor oil, or I know some people use vegetable oil, you know, if they're going to be cooking with it. If it's going to be like a kitchen knife or something, you can use vegetable oil. But I just use motor oil to do mine. So we'll probably go over that process in another video. I just wanted to get the general shape grinding video out of the way. And if we leave it that thick on back, I'm thinking I should be able to hammer on that good for splitting wood or whatever. And this knife is really heavy right now. It's really top heavy. You may notice that if you make one and leave a long blade. But you're going to be taking a lot of that material out. you know, half of the blade. So a quarter of this weight will not be there when you're done, you know. So you'll have a good balanced knife, and this knife is pretty balanced as is, but it'll be even more balanced when we get that extra material out of the blade. So we're just going to take the bench grinder and grind this out, and we'll come back and show you where we're at. Alright, so I just wanted to show you guys how I'm grinding the blade down. You can see it's almost there. I didn't get the distance I wanted from here to here, but it's pretty close. And I'm not doing this on a bench grinder, I'm actually just doing it on a little angle grinder. And I'm holding the angle grinder like that with one hand. And then if you take and just drag it across real slow as it's going, you know, just like that. And then flip it this way. Do the same thing. And then after you do that, whenever you get it the distance you want, or the thickness you want, you'll just take and hold the knife flat, and then get those, like that crease right there will come out. You can take that out by just holding it like that and using your angle grinder like this so you can see, and as you're doing it, it'll start changing colors. Like this color will become this color, you know. That's two different shades there. It'll even out as you go down it. So once we get this where we want it, we'll be back. Alright, so at this point I have the rough edge made out. Now I just take a soapstone and just run it all the way up the blade. Just so I can make sure that it's as even as possible. The next step on this would be belt sanding it. I'm going to do that in a second part video due to the fact that this video is pretty long as it is. So it'll be, the next video will be finishing touches on the Bushcraft knife. And we're going to use a belt sander for that, like I said. And you can see on my blade here, it's shaped like this instead of like this. And the reason is you know, I want to abuse it. So if I have to sharpen it more often, I'm fine with that. I'll just sharpen it after each use, but I want to be able to split wood with it at the very least. So you can see the white line's pretty even all the way down. I got a little bit more here and here, and then a little bit more at the tip. But I'm going to do all that with the belt sander, and we'll start with a real rough sand, you know, heavy grit, and then we'll work our way to a lighter grit, and then buff it all out, and we'll hit this with the heavy grit as well, try to even out the blade and everything. So be looking out for the next video. Thanks for watching, YouTube.